Today, we're going to be learning how to use AI to actually learn the underlying code that it's giving us. How do we ask the right questions? How do we give it the right prompts? How do we just make the experience of learning with AI fun? Let's dive into it today. You're going to follow along with me. Come to code.strivemat.com. Follow along in the link in the description. Again, come to the AI tab. I want to start by creating a project. And then once we have a project, we're going to dive into trying to understand the code that's actually provided. So this is what I'm going to write for this project. Let's get started. Come to code.strivemath.com or follow along with the link in the description. You're going to come here, go in the AI tab. We're going to get started with our first prompt. I want to start by building a project with AI, and then we're going to break down each line of code and try and see how we can understand it. So this is my prompt. Code me a circle that grows and shrinks over time, make it follow my mouse, and change color over time. I'm going to add one more thing because, again, we're beginners. We don't really know how to code, so we don't want the AI to give us very advanced rocket science. So I'm going to add another line to say, I'm a beginner, keep the code simple. Send it. Let's see what we get. So I've got my code. I'm going to copy paste all of it, select all of the code that I have here, delete it, paste. And there we go. We've got our circle that is going to slowly move while it moves around with the mouse and grows and expands, changes color. It's pretty cool. So let's start trying to understand how this code works. Let's start step by step. Let's start with how does the circle work? So I've asked the AI, I want to understand how the code works. Can you explain how the circle is drawn? I'm going to add two little tricks here to make it more effective when you guys are asking questions about particular lines. One, let's ask it, keep things short and simple. You can tell the AI to be like, write me a 3,000 word essay, or you can be like, hey, use bullet points. I don't have all day. So that's the first thing I'm going to say. And the next tip I'll give you is use context you find interesting. So the AI can take any example in the world from Formula One to ELSA to Call of Duty and help explain your code within that context. And you're much more likely to learn it if you care about the context that it's in. So let's say I want to understand the context of how circles are drawn within Formula One. So I've added a sentence, I love Formula One, explain it to me using a Formula One theme, last crazy thing, and end every answer with Alonso, or whatever Formula One driver you really like. So you can make the AI do funny things. Let's see what we get. So this is the answer we get. Absolutely, just imagine our circle as a Formula One car. Let's go, Alonso. So we get explanation create canvas. I want to zoom in on this ellipse one because this is what's actually drawing the circle. So we're getting ellipse and it's saying, okay, we've got this mouse X, this mouse Y, and a circle size. This is our F1 circle car itself. It's going where you point your mouse, just like an F1 car race going where the driver steers it. Okay, I like the analogy. But now, so we've maybe got a bit of an understanding of this, but let's go further. Let's ask it, hey, can you explain to me how ellipse works? And here we get a pretty cool answer. We're being told that X and Y are the coordinates of the center of the circle. And by setting X to mouse X and Y to mouse Y, we're placing the center of the circle where your mouse pointer is. Just like an F1 driver steering the car. And then radius determines how big the circle is. Okay, cool. So we were able to ask how the code works, identify a particular thing, and ask it to explain it to us. But don't convince yourself that you understand the code because of this. It's very easy for us to say, hey, okay, I understand this now, easy. The way we learn is not by just reading, it's by applying it. So you need to be challenged. You need to be given some sort of exercise to see, hey, do you understand this? So we've got our explanation, but I want to go further than just reading. I want to actually test myself. Do I understand create canvas? Do I understand ellipse? Do I understand what all of these lines are doing? And the way we're going to test our understanding is by asking the AI to test us. So let's start simple. Let's ask the AI to test us on create canvas. So I'm going to come to the bottom, say the following. So the prompt I've given it is, can you give me an exercise to test if I understand create canvas? Remember, I'm a complete beginner, so make the exercise simple, because oftentimes if you ask it things, it might give you a really complicated exercise. And you're like, what have I signed up for? So let's see what we get from this. So here's its answer. Absolutely. Let's get that engine revving, Alonso. And it's given me these two exercises, but it's also given me the answers. I don't want the answers. I want to be able to figure it out. So I'm going to further prompt it. I'm going to say, don't give me the answers. Let's go step by step to complete the exercise. Okay, we've made progress. It's not giving me the answers, but it's still doing all the steps at the same time. What's nice is if we can have a conversation with it like a human. Like when I'm speaking to a teacher or someone explaining something to me, if I want to learn how to build something, they don't go and explain all 10 steps. They'll explain step 1, we do step 1. Explain step 2, do step 2. So let's ask the AI to do the same. So the prompt I've given it, don't give me all the steps at once. Let's do one at a time. Let's have a natural back and forth chat as if you were my teacher. So now we finally got a simple exercise we can follow. So the task is to modify the create canvas function to give it a specific size. Can you modify create canvas window width, window height to create a canvas of 500 pixels wide and 300 pixels tall? So I'm going to find this line, create canvas, and I'm see, okay, I got window width and window height. Now I can try, okay, 500 pixels wide and 300 pixels tall. So I'm going to imagine I need to change these numbers. How do I know which number is which? How do I know if this needs to be 300 and that needs to be 500? Or if it's the other way around? So I can ask it, can you explain create canvas? And immediately, even while it's running, we can see it. The first one, create canvas width, is what is the first one. So if we want to make this 500 pixels wide and 300 pixels tall, we go width and then height. And now there's just so much happening on the screen, we should have a canvas that follows those dimensions. Awesome. Okay, cool. I love how it's still ending every time without a it's so good. Okay, so we've done that one. So now we can say, okay, I'm done. Next step. Awesome. Okay, next one. The next step is to draw a circle at the top left corner of your canvas. The top left corner of your canvas is always 0, 0. Try adding ellipse 0, 0, 50. So it's given us the answer, so we can prompt it back and be like, hey, come on, don't make it so easy. But still good enough, so let's keep going. So inside of draw now, I'm going to try and say, okay, let's follow this along. So I'm going to say ellipse, and I'm going to say 0, 0, and 50. Nothing comes out, and I wonder why. So we can check. We can ask the AI, hey, I've added the line, but it's not working. So now it gives us an answer, and it tells us, hey, the reason why this isn't working is because I've drawn this ellipse before backgrounds. That means my background is covering over the ellipse. If I want to change it, I need to draw the ellipse after my background. So I just need to take this line and move it over here. So notice how we were able to fix this because we didn't give up. We're able to be like, cool, let's keep trying this. Now, it's also saying, okay, we need to make the color of our ellipse white so we're able to see it. So if I take the full white command, okay, there we go. I'm now seeing our ellipse. Okay, it's not in the corner, right? Our task originally is we want it in the top left corner. So if I do 0, 0, I'm getting it in the bottom left corner over here. But you can see how now we were given all the way back here these these steps, right? So we wanted to update our canvas and we wanted to draw a circle. So this, I hope, is going to start giving you inspiration on how you can now do this for every line of code. Pick a line of code, ask the AI to give you a variety of exercises on it, and ask it to prompt you step by step in order to get the solution for those exercises. That way, you're going to always be making progress towards it. The other small hack or small trick I do want to share then is we don't also need to be coding in here. We could just be answering the AI directly in the chat. So what I can say is something like this. So here I am in the chat and I've said, test me on ellipse. Use rapid fire questions that I'll answer in chat. Make sure you need to say in chat because otherwise it's going to expect you to write code. For each answer, check if I'm right and give me points accordingly. Adapt your questions based on where where my understanding may be lacking. And this, very important, ask me questions one at a time so we have more of a natural conversation with the AI and see what we get. Cool. Okay, so we get our first question. If we want to draw an ellipse at position 100, 200 with a radius of 50, which one of the following is the correct code? So is it A, B, or C? So here we're testing, do we know our X, Y, and radius? Which one is which? And so here it's this one because it's X is 100, Y is 200, radius is 50. That's the order. So I'm going to say A. And we get it right, and we move on to the next question. Oh, I like this one a lot. So if we want the circle to be centered in the center of our canvas, which is 500 by 300, where should our circle be placed? Pause the video, you give it a shot first. So one way we can do this is just test each line of code. Let's take each one of these. Let's take A, let's put it in the middle, or let's put it there, and let's see, does it come up in the center? That looks centered. Let's make sure the others aren't working. So I'm going to take that one, copy paste B into here. Oh, I don't want to copy paste that line B, and we only need to copy the code. No, that one is in the top right corner. And then if I copy paste the C one into here, that one I can't even see. We're not seeing it. So here we've just tested, okay, it's this one. And it makes sense. Our X is 250, half of 500. And our Y is 150, half of 300. So it's going to be placed in the center. Again, A. So now the question is, let's say we want to draw a circle that covers the full height of our canvas, which is 500 pixels high. What should be the radius of the circle? So this is going to test your knowledge of circles and geometry. So a radius is the distance between the center of the circle and the edge. I think the way that ellipse works actually is by giving the diameter. So I'm curious if it's made a boo-boo by asking about a radius. But let's see. So if our height is 500 and a radius is from the center to the edge, which one do you think it is? So let's test it. Let's start by changing, because right now Create Canvas is saying 500 by 300. So let's change it to 500 by 500. And let's take an ellipse, put it in the middle of our circle. So I'm going to take this ellipse over here. I'm going to change its X and Y. So its X is 250, its Y is 250, and it's C. So now I'm going to put 250 there. It's not covering the full screen. If I put 500, it covers the full screen. So this is indeed... So this is our diameter. So let's see. I'm curious to see if it's gotten diameter and radius confused. So I think it's definitely A, but let's see if we're on the same page. Cool. Yeah, A is correct, because this command, this number over here, is the diameter, not the radius. But cool, we can keep going and I can keep asking you questions. This is a nice way of getting like a very quick understanding about a very specific topic. And then you can go ahead and apply it into code. So we've covered a lot in today's video. What I want you to do is, for whatever exercises you came up with, both for like rapid fire questions as well as like coding exercises, share it with us in the Discord channel. I'm curious to see what kind of questions you were asked and how you were able to prompt the AI to give you questions that really tested your understanding. I'm looking forward to seeing your answers.